In this lesson, we'll be using a boole to cut our shapes in the pie. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is get my text out of the middle of everything. So we'll come down here, grab our 54 and 43, and I'm just going to pull them forward a little bit. Now, looks like I still have my enable axis turned on from before, so I'll make sure to turn that back off. And there, now it moves everything. And I can pull this up a bit. And let's figure out exactly where we need these to be. So I'm going to pull them back. And they're not quite thick enough for me. So I'm going to go into my Object tab and add a little bit of movement to them. So they're going to be slightly deeper. Now, it doesn't really matter how deep I make them if I'm using this boole, as long as I don't make them so deep that they go all the way through the back. So let me show you what I mean. Let's start with our 54. So what I'm doing is I'll go up to where you see the array and we'll add a boole. Just drop that in. Then I want to grab my 54% cylinder and drop that underneath the boole. And then we'll come down and grab our 54% text and drop that under the boole as well. Now, because of the way that this is set up, right now you can't see anything. And if I pull this back, you can see that where this is intersecting, it's cutting away the back of the numbers. So this is kind of the opposite effect of what I wanted to happen. So all I have to do is switch their order in the hierarchy. So I'll just take the cylinder and put it on top instead. And now you can see I have this 54% cut into my cylinder there. So if I grab my text, I can kind of pull it out a little bit if I don't want it to be quite so deep. And then I can just do that same action with the 43. Now, it'll be important that we add some ambient occlusion and have a little bit of a different color for this so that that stands out, but it's an interesting and different way for us to do this. Okay, so let's add another boole. Just drop that in. We'll grab our 43% and come down here and grab our 43% bit of text, drop that under, switch their order. We'll grab the text, and in this case we'll want to pull it backwards a little bit just so it barely starts to cut in. And you want to make sure that they're pretty close to the same. They don't have to be exactly the same since they're not directly side by side. They're pretty close to each other side by side. And that looks pretty good. And what this is also going to allow me to do is I don't have to set up an animation for those now. They're just simply going to appear when that starts up. Now, you can certainly add an animation if you want. If I want maybe that 54 to come on a little bit later, like maybe right about here, I could totally do that simply by only keying the 54 property. So the 54 bit of text here, we could, just the same as always, key it scale animation. So I want to make sure that my axis is in the right point, since I did go in and decide to change how much movement it had in the z-axis. So you can see it's about that much off. So I'll just pull that into the middle, and we'll do the same thing for 43. Just like that. And then we can add a scale animation really quickly and easily, just the same way we did with our other numbers in our line graph. So we're going to be reusing some other text animations for our other percentages here. And I think now would be a really good opportunity to be able to reuse that rather than creating totally new keyframes on the 43 and 54. So let's come back in the next lesson and we'll borrow some of those keyframes from our other project where we already have that scale animation set up. And that's just going to save both of us some time. And we can also borrow our swinging animation for this bit of text as well. So stick around and we'll be grabbing those keyframes from our other project and bringing them in here in the next lesson.